Have you ever landed on a web page and just felt this almost magnetic pull to buy something? Well, today we're going to pull back that curtain, we're going to break down the anatomy of a typical sales page, and we're using a product called SonusZen as our guide to really understand the powerful marketing techniques at play. But first, let me ask you something. What is it that makes you click that Buy Now button? Is it the huge discount? The promise of what the product will do? Maybe just the look and feel of the page? Just, keep that in the back of your mind as we go, because you're about to see just how carefully all of those triggers are engineered. All right, so let's start our tour through what I like to call the architecture of persuasion. And look, we're not really focused on the product itself here. What we're digging into is the how and the why of the page's design. All the little cues, both obvious and not so obvious, that are built to guide you toward one very specific action. Okay, so right at the heart of any sales page is the offer. This is it. This is where the psychology, the pricing, and the whole presentation, it all comes together to do the really heavy lifting. So let's break down exactly how this deal is put together. So you'll notice right away, you're not just given one option. You've got three. And they are framed so deliberately. The 2-bottle basic option, it's got a shipping fee, which immediately makes it feel a little less appealing. But then you look over at the 6-bottle best offer. It's got the absolute lowest price per bottle and free shipping. It's practically screaming that it's the smartest financial choice. This whole structure is designed to funnel you directly towards their most profitable package. Now, this is a classic technique. It's called anchor pricing. The page establishes the super high original price of $179. And that number, it just sticks in your brain, right? It becomes the anchor. So suddenly, the sale price of $49 feels like an absolutely incredible bargain, even if you never ever would have thought about paying that full price. And here is where you see the power of that anchor in full effect. The page basically screams at you, you save $780 on the best offer. Now, that number isn't just a piece of information, it's a total emotional trigger. It puts a dollar amount on your win, right? It makes the purchase feel less like you're spending money and more like you're saving a huge amount of it. It just creates this really powerful sense of value. And look at the labels they use: best offer and most popular. This is a perfect example of social proof. What it's suggesting is that a ton of other people have already made this decision, and hey, they're happy with it. It helps reduce that anxiety you might have about making the wrong choice because it implies there's already a consensus. If it's popular, it must be good. That's the mental shortcut our brains are just wired to take. But, okay, even with a deal that looks this good, there's still one major hurdle to get over, and that's fear. The fear of wasting your money, the fear of regret later on. A really smart sales page knows this, and it tackles that fear head on by trying to completely remove risk from the equation. And this is how they do it. This statement right here is incredibly powerful. The 60-day window, that gives you plenty of time. 100% satisfaction sets a really high bar. But the magic words, the key phrases, are every penny and no questions asked. That language is designed to sound totally absolute and completely effortless, making your decision to buy feel safe, like completely reversible. And this technique actually has a name. It's called risk reversal. By taking on all of the apparent risk, the seller makes it psychologically way easier for you, the buyer, to just say yes. The barrier to purchase is just lowered almost to the floor. It's a fundamental tool in the direct marketing playbook for sure. Okay, so we've seen the pitch, we've seen the shiny, happy parts. But every single sales page has another story to tell, and you almost always find it way down at the bottom, buried in the fine print. And these disclaimers, they aren't just legal stuff. They are as strategically important as the sales copy itself. This one's the first and most common disclaimer you're going to see for supplements, at least in the United States. It's legally required, and what it does is it immediately draws a really clear line. It says, hey, whatever claims we're making here, they haven't been scientifically validated by the country's main regulatory body for this stuff. Okay, now this is a subtle but really critical shift in language. This disclaimer basically reframes all the information you just got excited about. It's no longer being presented as objective, verifiable fact, but as subjective opinion. And that protects the seller by positioning all the content as just a point of view, not a scientific promise. And finally, we get to the disclaimer about the testimonials. So after using all those personal stories to build trust and get you excited, this statement comes in to manage your expectations. It's essentially saying that all those amazing results you just read about, they aren't a promise. This helps protect the seller from being accused of making false guarantees. So when you put all of these different pieces together, you've got the pricing, you've got the promises, you've got the fine print, you don't just have a web page anymore. What you have is a carefully constructed playbook designed from top to bottom to convert a visitor into a customer. So, to just recap here, these are not random elements thrown on a page. They are proven persuasion techniques, and they all work together. You've got anchor pricing, creating that feeling of value. You've got social proof, guiding your choice. You have risk reversal, getting rid of your fear. And then you have the strategic disclaimers, managing all the legal liability. It's a full spectrum strategy from start to finish. So, the next time you land on a page just like this, you'll have the tools to see behind the curtain. You'll be able to recognize the playbook as it's happening. The real question is, now that you can see the architecture of persuasion for what it is, how is that going to change the way you navigate the digital world? What are you going to see differently?